Good night from
Good night,
True Labour.
good night, good night.
Friends of True Labour. Comrades of True Labour. Well-wishers of True Labour.
Yes.
Critics of True Labour.
Yes.
Good night to one and all.
True Labour.
At our first meeting, I spoke to the people of New Introps, and I told them that one of the reasons why this party took so long to come off the ground is because we agonized about leaving our mother party. We grew up in the Labour Party. We grew up in the Antigua Trades and Labour Union. And we realized that the things that our forefathers stood for were being crushed. We realized that there was no longer integrity in the party. We realized that the constitution of the party was not being upheld. Anytime there was a problem and you tried to get to the disciplinary committee for it to be dealt with, there was always someone to come on, cause some confusion, and then that was the end of it. Too often I've been embarrassed when people say to me, "You're from Param, why all you beggy so?" Param people have always been a proud people. We weren't beggars. And even though people say that we have gotten things from the representative, nobody up there can say to you that they have fenced their houses from money gotten from their representative. Nobody can say that they have gotten themselves a car or they have done anything worthwhile with any money that they have received. You know why? Because the only money that was given to people who were encouraged to go and buy marijuana. Yes, those people got money to buy spliff to destroy themselves. Yes, persons got shoes because they were playing on the football team. But nobody got money to uplift themselves. And I'll also say to you that there are many people who have worked for the representative and have not received any money. The last election that was held, when we, myself included, rallied around the Labour Party to ensure that we won that seat, not even a drink was given on that day. People outside believe that people in Parab and in St. Peter were paid. That didn't happen. But we're not going to want quarreling about it. We want people to understand that what we did for the Labour Party.
Yes.
And anybody who win their seat in St. Peter win it because of the Labour Party. Because the people in St. Peter grew up loving the Labour Party, believing in the Labour Party. But now the present Labour Party is far from what it ought to be. I'll say to you, my people, that with a heavy heart we made the decision. We made the decision and we'll stand by that decision because we realize that the Labour Party is not what it used to be. It is Gaston Brown and the Team Labour. That doesn't say much. VC Bird didn't say VC Bird and Team Labour. We are all part of the Labour Party. And when VC Bird spoke about comrade, he meant comrade. But now we have people who have come to raid. And that is what has happened to the Labour Party. All of them have come to raid the Labour Party. And we cannot sit back and allow that to happen. I'm saying to you, my people, that tonight I want to draw to your attention the problems that this island has when it comes to finances. If we were to be honest with ourselves, we would realize that money is in this country, but the money is in the wrong hands. A teacher who goes out there day after day, working to make life better, working to build up our young people, to give them hope, at the end of a month is given approximately $3,000. When that teacher retires after 40 years or so, is given a percentage of that $3,000. I want you to understand what I'm saying. If a teacher begins to work at age 20, at age 60, that person would have worked 40 years. And the government is saying to us that they want to extend the pension age so that instead of taking a break after 40 years, you find yourself having to work for 45 years and getting a percentage of your salary. On the other hand, we have a few people who say that they would like to represent us. And after two terms, they are given their salary as a pension. Is that right? Is that fair? It can't be. And our country is burdened with that. Do the mathematics. How many persons of the 17 that we have representing us, how many of them have already done 2 terms? So if they retire today or tomorrow, they're not voted back into power, they will be receiving their salary monthly for doing nothing. I want you to understand the depth. So it means that our country is burdened with that. And you think that's all? Some persons are put on the ballot sheet and they don't win their seat. But you know what the Prime Minister does? He makes them ministers. So, if they serve 5 years as representative, and that person becomes a minister for another 5 years but not elected, that person after the 2 terms gets the same privilege. Plus, house, wherever they live, they get electricity, they get water, they get all the perks. Is that fair? Can we continue to burden our country with that kind of debt? If we do not do something about it now, this country is going to be worse off. On the 22nd of February, a report came out in the Observer newspaper. And it is such a heavy piece of information about the taxes. And if you take some time to look at the number of persons who work for less than $3,000, and those who work for $3,001 up to $7,000, you will realize that the majority of our people are working for less than $3,000. At the end of 40, 45 years, you get a percentage of that. And all our ministers who say that they care so much about us are continuing to suck this country. Furthermore, there is also a law to protect them. So if they do not get paid at the end of the year, of the month, interest begins to go onto their money. So let me ask you the question. Is it worth fighting for you people? No. It's not worth fighting because whether they work or not, they will be getting that money. True Labour wishes to stop it. We may not be able to change what has gone, but we can prevent the burden from getting heavier. When politicians started off this country, they were given a little thing. And so the different perks like the light and the water and the telephone were there to enhance. But now the politicians are getting big, heavy salaries and they are still getting all those perks. Not right. And every time they travel, every time they go on a plane, you have something called per diem, which is more money still. Why is it that our country is poor? It is poor because of these things. I say to you, my people, give True Labour the opportunity. Give True Labour the opportunity to make a change, to halt now that extra debt and ensure that we lighten the burden. I say to you, the future of our country is in your hands. You have one vote, but that one vote is important. Don't use it loosely. Use that vote wisely. Don't let anybody offer you any money for the vote. If you sell your vote, you will not be able to ask the representatives to do anything because you've already traded money for vote. What you need is to hold your representatives responsible. I put you there, therefore I expect that this will be done and that will be done. But you know why we don't have a voice? We don't have a voice because no longer do we have village councils. No longer do we have local governments where we can come together and say what is good for our constituency, what is best for us. Nobody listens to us anymore. The politicians believe that they know all, but they don't. They use us to get to their position, and then once they're in parliament, they have arrived, and they say to us, you have to wait 5 years. At the end of 5 years, what happens? They come back to you and they ask you please to give them another chance. My people, we need to stop this. We need to let the two parties who have been playing ringer roses understand that we are tired. We cannot continue like this. Nobody is objecting to anything. You live in Pigotts. You see the trucks going up to crabs every day. 6, 7, 8 trucks, maybe more. What are they doing? They are carrying oil to that godly plant that they said was new. If it is new, then why is it that we have been spending so much money? We in True Labour intend to ask China to take it back. Because in 2016, when we are supposed to begin to pay for that plant, we would have spent so much money trying to maintain it that we know it's not an asset, it's a liability. If we can look on and see that it's a liability, what about the politicians? My people, we need to stop it. We need to draw the line now. We need to say to the present politicians, we are not satisfied. We are not satisfied because you're not representing us. We are not satisfied because there's no place we can come and sit and talk with you. When I was growing up, every constituency had a union hall or a meeting place. And we could speak to the representatives. We could say to them what was going wrong. We could dialogue with them. No, there is no place for that purpose. If you want to see your representatives, good Lord knows what you have to do. In St. Peter, our representative was practically living in St. Kitts. So how on earth could he represent us living in St. Kitts? His office is somewhere in Blue Waters. That can't be representation. Our young people don't even understand what representation is because what they see around them isn't helpful. All they see are a set of people who want to continue to live up there, and they will do anything to live up there. We need to draw the line. We need to show our young people that that is not politics. That is politics. And when you can show them a difference, then they can rise up. Another thing I want to bring to your attention is our young men. Our young men are so heavily marginalized. If you ask any of them about politics, you know what they said? I'm not interested. I don't want to have anything to do with it. You know why? Because to them it is too far out of their reach. Because for some of them they have a police record. And if you have a police record, you may not be able to enter politics. So all that has to be done is to make our people feel incompetent, and then they will not rise to the occasion. The people I have taught are people who have hope. And I will continue to put hope into the minds of my young people because that is the future of our country. I want to encourage parents to sit and talk with your children. Show them the way that the country is going. And let them realize that if we do not stop now, if we do not bring this thing to a halt, then our country will be doomed. I don't want to be the prophet of doom and gloom. I'm saying we are ready to take the mantle. We in true labor are dependable. We in true labor are serious. We have sat down, we have worked through, and we have people out there who are willing to work with us. Ordinary people who can tell you the difference between what we see on top of the sea and what's underneath the water. People who are willing and able to work in this country, but they are pushed aside, made to feel that we are not worth anything. As a matter of fact, the latest I'm hearing is that Antiguans are lazy. Well, I am not lazy. And I'm sure every Antiguan I talk to will say that they're not lazy. Why is it that we go around saying, oh, people are lazy? We're not lazy. We're hard-working people. Our parents worked hard to build their houses. A lady told me some time ago that in Param, the majority of the houses belong to women, the project houses. And if you go to Palm now, you will see that they're all paid off for. Because when you pay off, you can expand it. Take a look. And all that happened before the present representative got there. So he didn't help them. I want you to understand that we are a serious people. We are a hard-working people. We are willing to give an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. We don't want to beg. We never learned to beg. We were ashamed to beg. So don't tell me now that we have turned and we have changed and become a begging people. We are a serious people. But we have something you call obligation. And if somebody does something for you, somehow in our hearts we feel obligated. Old people tell you that ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft. And as a result, sometimes we feel obligated to somebody. But please remember, your children and your children's future should not at any time be compromised because somebody did a good turn for you. Remember, your children are your future. Make them happy, make them comfortable, but remind them that whatever you do to make a living is honest. I encourage you, my people, give true labor the opportunity to change this country now. We are at the crossroads. We can't afford to continue like this. Kelton Dalso is a part of true labor. Kelton Dalso is being put forward as a candidate for true labor. We support Kelton Dalso, and we support him because we know that he has a passion for his people. We support him because we know that he is willing and he is able. We support him because he has campaigned long before with all the other candidates. So we know that he knows the ropes, and we are supporting him. We are asking you now to make the change. You see, the same people who call you ragtags, the same people who are not concerned about the pension age being changed, are the same people who after 10 years will receive their salary as pension. Isn't that a wicked thing? I ask you, my people, to think and remember that you may be only one person, but you are one. You cannot do all things, but you can do something. And what you can do, that you ought to do. And what you ought to do, that by the grace of God, you must do. And that is to vote Kelton Dalso for St. George's. Good night.
You're not alone. Live, I'll be right there for you. You're not alone. Live, I'll be right there.